want to be alive anymore. Being alive is expensive, and I feel like, what is the point of being alive if I can't afford to live? I got the red notice on my door yesterday. It has really brought forward this, I don't know, this like sense of heaviness, this breakdown that I've been having all week. I go to 2 out of my 3 jobs today. I work overnight, and then tomorrow morning I'll come home, get a couple hours of sleep. I'll go to one of my jobs. Once I clock out of that job, I'll be going straight to another overnight shift. I hardly want to go because it's like so clear that like I can't obviously like cover my fucking necessities, and I just, in one of the poorest states in the US, the cost of living somehow is unsustainable working 3 jobs. I am considered a part-timer that's put on schedule due to understaffing. I'm being worked to death. I know everybody is one missed paycheck from being homeless. I work 3 jobs and I still can't cover my necessities. I can't bring that to my property manager and say, it's the system that's fucking me up. Sorry, I work 3 jobs. I literally can't. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna finish getting dressed and get ready for work.
Guys, this is not...
Shalom, Yasharallah. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, 𝐉𝐄𝐄𝐅𝐿𝐿. Double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. While peace and salutations to all you hope for lift document out there laboring, pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, and I'm coming at you with a big I told you so. The prophets told you so. And if you think that things are going to all of a sudden get better because of some election or some midterm elections or some whatever hope that you're having, it's a lie. Because the economy, as you know, it is crashing. You know, and the mass majority of people, you know, are realizing that the system is rigged against them. You know, specifically, you know, my generation, you know, which would be the millennials, that was constantly told, you know, and the idea of going to college and getting a degree was pushed down your throat, quite literally, in every class and every teacher that you had in high school. And as you're seeing that, I wish I would have the information that I had now, because I would have asked my teachers, how long have you been a teacher? Oh, 12 years. Oh, okay. How long have you been paying off your student debt? Oh, I'm still paying it. I have 10 more years to go. Man, people would have looked at them like they're fucking idiots, man. Because as you are seeing that these people have been sold a lie, you know, and more importantly, that these career women, these business women that wanted to focus on their job and focus on their career, disregarded a man. And all overnight, their jobs were cut. They have been labeled non-professional workers, like nursing degrees, physical therapists, psychology degrees, which were a majority of a woman workforce. You know, that these women that shat on man, you know, and as you can see, it's not like an ugly woman. And tell me that there wasn't a man ready to give his all to take care of this woman. Because nowadays, you don't need, you need a minimum of 2 incomes per household. I'm saying minimum 2 incomes per household. That's 2 separate people working a full-time job just to get by. And that's only if you have even a regular job, you know. And it's not to say that, you know, I don't know firsthand of what this is, because I mean, I work construction, you know, so it's not like I have a glamorous job. But the point is that my job always gives like hours. There's always a need for infrastructure in the type of career choice that I chose, you know. And as you know, as you can see, that these people that position themselves to be fully independent and outside of the tribal mindset of getting a family together and being taken care of. Because like I said, the majority of these damn women that are complaining and crying, I can't pay my bills. Oh, there's no one here. There's no one here to help me. Why is this world so hard? You know what? I guarantee there was a man somewhere down the line in their life that was willing to build with them. But because that man wasn't at a high level, because that man didn't have everything together, you know, and everything to offer, You know, they passed on to Pookie and Ray Ray, you know, because they had the glamour, and Pookie and Ray Ray shat on them, left them, you know, in the middle of the night, or used them just for a booty call or something like that, man. So Pookie and Ray Ray, go ahead and go find your broads, man, because these women that there was a statistic that came out that the women in this country hold the majority of the job placement, you know, and that's, you know, as a whole, from every type of job that you can imagine, you know. So these women are working more and more hard, longer hours, in the sense of they make up the majority of the so-called workforce, and they're the ones complaining the most because they went to degrees. You know, they're not strapping on a tool belt, they're not getting ready to carry rebar, carry big old forms for concrete work, none of that, man. You know, so they're choosing these jobs that are easily replaceable by artificial intelligence, different computer algorithms, etc. You know, and more importantly, they didn't choose someone to build with, because I guarantee you that the women that have a man at the house helping them support everything aren't going through the same struggles as these fucking so-called Miss Independent women that don't need no man because they're a career woman that takes care of everything that they need. You know, and it's not something that can be, how do you say, fixed overnight. Because, hey, man, hey, let's just say that that train and that ship has long sailed. That train has passed that stop. Because a lot of these women are now that we're focusing on their career are up in age. And nobody but a fucking simp or a Pookie and Ray Ray is getting ready to attach onto something like that, man. So don't even feel bad for these women crying in their car. You know, don't even feel bad, Jake, when you see the woman downtrodden, all dusty and dirty, tired, and all that shit, man. You know, because these women got exactly what they asked for. They want to be a part of the workforce. They want to be strong, independent women that don't need no man to tell them what they do. Look at them now, either crying in their car or crying in their fucking bathroom, getting ready to go to their job. Man, so this is beautiful. I have to say, call halal 𝐉𝐄𝐅𝐄. The fact that these damn women that were so prideful, spitting and shitting all over their man, you know, tossing them to the side, putting them on child support, got the nerve to complain that they don't have the means to take care of themselves. Like, I'm going to repeat this point again. At some point, somewhere down the line, there was a man ready to give them their all. And he may have not have been the handsomest, the skinniest, the most in fit. You know, he wasn't a handsome dude. Maybe he didn't have all his hair on top of his head or whatever it is. He had a weird pinky toe. Oh, he had Nintendo thumbs. Oh, no, he's out of my class. Oh, I'm way better than that. No, you're fucking not, with your used up box you, man. So the point being is that I have been seeing a lot of videos, and not just from, you know, the women's point of view, but also, you know, these men that are complaining about not having jobs. And these are the same motherfuckers that wanted to be frat boys, wanted to go to college, didn't want to get a shovel, didn't want to strap on a tool belt, and now they're complaining because AI is taking their job. How about get to fucking work, man? You know, I'll tell you what, I have seen firsthand the job sites that I have been on, apprentices in the union, because I'm not not saying it's like a big fancy title, but I'm not just a construction, it's a construction union, you know, let's just say it's an ironworking union, you know, so it is very hard, laborious work. I have seen these bitch-made fucking apprentices come on the job site for one day and get ready to quit. They'll maybe make it through a week. And I'll be surprised. I don't even start learning people's names until they've been there for at least 3 months. Because I have seen so many people come and try to pick up the type of work that I do and fucking run away as fast as they can. It doesn't matter that at some of these job sites, you're making minimum. An apprentice with no experience, minimum in Idaho, making $62 an hour. And because they are so scared of laborious work, or because you didn't ask them to pick up that piece of rebar nicely and do this, that now that their whole life is too hard and they can't work, man. That's why the majority of these men, man, just send to the fucking draft. Please just send to the draft so they can be unalived and taken out of the gene pool. Because you bitch-made ass fucking so-called men, they can't get down in the trenches, get dirty, lift things that are heavy, be hot, be cold, put your body in situations that are uncomfortable and they're not in a climate controlled condition, yeah, then go find your easy job at fucking McDonald's, man. But the point being is not to sound prideful, but I have seen it firsthand, the bitch made ass fucking new generation that's trying to come into the workforce, man. Nothing but complainers. But I'll have to say, inflation is a mother trucker. Cost of living is a mother trucker. So it's not like we're the boomers, but you can't blame the boomers as well, because they were just given the lies and fed the lies that they were told. Go to the job, get a factory, get a blue collar job, get a house, and they were able to support a family like that. But nowadays it's different. And nowadays it's even more important for you to have a tribal mindset. And at the end of the day, the elect are going to be the only ones that are going to be able to pull together and make it through these times. So enough ranting, because, hey, the spirit must have been on my Instagram, because I had seen almost 10 videos. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not even looking for these videos of people complaining in their cars, complaining in the shower, complaining the cost of living and the job market, et cetera, et cetera. There was just somebody let loose from my job only because he put in his 2 weeks because he found a better job in the same field. But they let him go immediately, man. So the job market right now is cutthroat. And they know it's cutthroat because of the necessity that people need to have for the high cost of living. They need to have a job, consistently working minimum 40 hours a week just to make ends meet. And that's why if brothers got more, hey man, call 𝐤𝐄𝐅𐤄𝐿 𝐉𝐄𝐿 because the Lord is providing, man, for the elect, the remnant. And if there's a brother that's struggling and you have it, hey man, you gotta help that brother out as much as you can. Especially amongst the brethren of Great Millstone. We're all we got at the end of the day. And as these people, they don't have even a God to call upon. Even though that might be a Jake, but they don't know the names, they don't know the situation, but that's why ultimately everything is going to fall into its proper order in the time of Jacob's trouble. Brothers know exactly what I mean by that. There's going to be a state of high, desperate necessity. And that's going to be such a crazy instance to see people do the most craziest things and inject themselves or willingly go to this man to receive the mark of the beast just so they can stay alive. This is a buildup to the mass pressure on people's mind to be willing to accept any and everything that comes their way just so that they can have a sense of normalcy to live their life. And that's going to be the golden ticket, will be the mark of the beast. And it's going to be it's going to be put in commercials. It's going to be thrown in your face. It's going to be advertised more than anything you've ever seen advertised in this world. More than McDonald's, it's going to be advertised for people to take, because they're going to get a universal basic income. They're going to get their housing paid for, etc. This is all building towards the beast system. Like Klaus Schwab says, the former leader of the World Economic Forum, he says, you will own nothing and be happy. Because even though you don't own it, even though you're sharing a car, sharing a house, and all you got is maybe a one side of the bed because somebody else is renting the other side of the bed, man, you're going to be happy because you have cricket burgers. Because you're eating cricket burgers every night, three square meals a day, man. These people are going to be pushed out to bugged out extents to think that is the way that we ultimately are going to be living in the future. And that's why these people are willing to accept the MOT to the beat. So, Salakia, all that being said, this is Isaiah 19:15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. Ultimately, all these jobs are going to shut down, from the CEO running these big Fortune 500 companies down to the janitor cleaning the halls and cleaning his toilet that boss shits in, man. Ain't nobody going to be able to have a job to do. Verse 16, in that day shall Egypt be like unto women. It shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord Yahweh of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And that's the judgment. That's them getting ready to receive that harsh reality that what they're living in is the last days. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 16. Because as you can tell, this is going to be pushed to a point to where people are going to lose their minds. They're going to crash out. They're going to crash out over somebody buying bread that's $2.99 in front of them just to feed their kids. They're going to be mad at that person buying great value bread or whatever it is because they don't even have money to walk out with anything in the store. They walked into the store to see who has the biggest cart, and they were going to rob them as soon as they were about to get in their car, man. That's the times that we're coming into. You're going to see people walking around with big old AR-15s and AKs just to go to the grocery store, you know. This is 2nd Ezra 15 and 16. For there shall be sedition among men. You know, sedition is going against your governments and invading one another. That's these wars. And not just to mention, you're going to have wars within countries. You're going to have the same countries, but they're going to have wars within themselves. And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes. They're not going to put any thought towards the government and the law and order. And the course of their action shall stand in their power. You're going to have these marauder groups, these vigilante groups that are just going to go out and do as they will, you know, and you're going to see that satanic proverb come to pass. Do as thou wilt. Yeah, you're going to see that in full-fledged when these people lose their fucking minds. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For how many cars are going to be jamming up the freeways? And not to mention all these cities are laid out to be easily cut off from escape or entrance other than, you know, the government completely locking down that area. You know, they actually got the freeway system from Nazi Germany and the way that they laid out their country. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. If these big, strong, bulky men are afraid, you know, and these cities are troubled, you know, which means the city's troubled means your water's not going to be running, your gas is not going to be going to your house, the fire department's going to be overrun, the hospitals are going to be overrun, the police are going to abandon their spots just to go defend their own families. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. It's going to get desperate out here. You might, Alex Jones says, I will eat my neighbor. I will eat you to feed my family. You know, that is literally what they're going to do. These people are going to be cutthroat against their neighbors because they saw you go to Costco every week. They saw you carry a case out of your water, a case of water out of your truck a couple weeks ago, and it might still be in your house. They're going to be the demons are going to be in their head, you know, building up a case so that they can be pushed to extremes to go and do the worst to you and your family. And that's why you need the protection of 𝐉𝐄 b'Hashem Yahushua in these last days. 2nd Ezra 15 and 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So as you can see, great tribulation is going to push these people to do great wickedness. Great tribulation will lead to great wickedness because these people have no faith other than what they can see in front of their face, what they can eat that night, what they can see that they have stored up, riches, carnal means. You know, and these are the same people that ultimately are going to revert to cannibalism. They are going to revert to, you know, eating rats, eating worms out of the ground. You know, it's going to get medieval in this bitch, as the elder Malcolm says. It's going to get medieval in this bitch, man. And if you want to go look at the medieval torture devices, you know, and what happened then, and all the slaughtering and how people just disregarded, you know, lives in the times of war, you know, it's going to be pushed to the utmost power in these last days. You know, so I got a couple more. Yes. So this is going to be worldwide, not just here in Babylon the Great. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth. And they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. Because the wrath of 𝐉𝐄 b'Hashem Yahushua is not just coming in the nuclear missiles. It's going to be coming in the time of tribulation. It's going to be coming in the time of war. in the time of pestilence, in the time of natural disasters, in national emergencies. All this is coming and happening in your lifetime. So to think that you're prideful because maybe your company offers a really good retirement plan, your ass ain't fucking retiring, Jake. Get that through your head. There's no, oh, in 50 years. I had a conversation with my dad, and he was talking to me about his retirement, and I told him, Dad, fucking cash out on that shit. And my dad and I talk to each other a little different, but I said, Dad, you gotta cash out on that shit. I'm telling you, my ass ain't retiring. I say, you need to get that retirement pulled out, and cash out on it, man. Because ultimately, this currency is going to be worthless. He just laughed and he said, yeah. You never know. You just always got to be ready. It's better to be ready and it not happen. I was like, it's because they don't have the vision. You got to have the vision, my brother. But with all games set aside, for the elect and for the prophets to see these times coming down the line, it's just like Bruce Almighty says, it is beautiful. Because, hey, man, these are the times that we are coming into to show our faith and show what we have been preparing for spiritually, first and foremost, to deal with, while the rest of these people are running around with their chickens, like chickens with their head cut off. Because if you ever seen a chicken with its head cut off, they run around for like a couple minutes, sometimes even 15 minutes before they drop dead. And that's just the nature of what happens when you chuck. That's why the saying comes, a chicken with its head cut off, because they be running around like crazy. And that's what these people are going to be doing. This is 2 Ezra 15-37, and there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth. And they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. And then shall there come great storms from the south and from the north, and another part from the west. Why? Because the west is out here in Babylon the Great. Because the storms is a representation of the great tribulations and ultimately the nuclear destruction that is going to be the ending of this so-called Western civilization. And that is beautiful, because we are seeing the fall of Western civilization right now. And with that being said, amen. Be prepared. Repent, go back to 𝐤𝐄𝐅𝐿, turn back to 𝐤𝐿 if you are an Israelite, a descendant of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans on your father's side. Come back, repent, because the end is near. The end is here. The end is not near. The end is here. And so, Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, 𤤄𤄅𝐻, 𤤄𝐿, and double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Wa peace and salutations to all you hopeful elect 𝐤𝐄𝐅 out there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.